Right. Good evening, guys. So let's take a problem on Doppler's effect today. And right, so here is a problem. So here we have a source emitting a sound of frequency f, and the source is placed at a large distance from an observer. And the source starts moving towards the observer with a uniform acceleration a. So you need to find out what's the frequency heard by the observer corresponding to the wave emitted just after the source starts, right? And the speed of the sound in the medium is given as b, right? So let's draw a diagram for this situation. So we have a source and we have, we have a source and we have an observer, right? And your source is moving with an acceleration a in this case. Your source is moving with an acceleration in this case. Your observer is said to be located pretty far away from the source, and the frequency of the sound emitted by the source, is given as f. Right? So here we are supposed to find out what will be the frequency of the sound which the observer would listen to when the source just starts, over here, right? To be exact, the question over here was, what will be the frequency heard by the observer corresponding to the wave emitted just after the source starts? So just after your source starts, it emits a sound wave over here. So what will be the frequency heard by the observer of this particular sound wave? What will be the frequency heard by the observer of this particular sound wave over here, right? So this comes under a category of cases where the velocity of the observer and the velocity of the source is not constant, right? And particularly in this case, the velocity of the source is not constant. It's moving with an acceleration, right? So anyways, the question we need to solve over here is, what will be the frequency of the sound heard by the observer? Frequency of sound heard by the observer corresponding to the sound wave emitted when the source starts. Corresponding to the sound when the source just starts. So here we see the importance of derivations of your formulas of Doppler's effect and all, right? And here we'll be applying your the derivation, the way we have derived the formulas of Doppler's effect over here, right? If you can recall the way we have derived it, right? We actually found out what was the time taken for the two sound waves, what is the time taken for two consecutive sound pulses, if we want to describe it that way, to reach the observer. So we'll be using that logic over here. We'll be using the derivation which we had made use of to derive the formula of Doppler's effect, and we'll be using that to derive this answer, right? We'll be using that to derive this answer. Anyway, so let's go about solving this question, right? So the first thing is, let me assume that at t is equal to 0, right, the source starts from rest. It starts off with an acceleration a. And during this time t is equal to 0, let your source emit a sound. I mean, your source is anyways emitting a sound of frequency f. So let me consider the sound pulse. Which the source is emitting at that time. At that time t is equal to 0, right? So even though sound is a longitudinal wave, let me describe it as a a wave pulse in this manner, right? So let me consider the sound wave which this sound is emitting at t is equal to 0, and let the distance between the source and the observer be equal to some L distance. Let's take the distance between the source and observer to be equal to some L, right? Now the sound is being emitted at t is equal to 0. After the sound is being emitted, the sound, as we know, will travel with a speed v, which is given as the speed of the sound in the medium, right? So after the sound is emitted, it will travel with the speed v. So what will be the time taken? So let me write this as 1, indicating that this is the first wave pulse. So what will be the time taken for the first wave pulse to reach the observer? What's the time taken for the first wave pulse to reach the observer? So once this wave pulse is being emitted, this wave pulse will be traveling with the velocity v over here, and the distance it has to travel to reach the observer would be equal to L. So the time taken, as we know, the formula would be equal to distance by speed. So you get the time taken over here to be equal to L by v, and let me write this as T1. That is the time taken, or that is the time at which the first wave pulse reaches the observer, right? So the first wave pulse would reach the observer. The first wave pulse reaches the observer at the time t is equal to L by v. First wave pulse reaches the observer at the time t is equal to L by v. Let me write this as T1. The time at which it reaches the first wave pulse reaches the observer, right? Okay. So now let's consider the second wave pulse which this source of sound is emitting, right? And what will be the time difference between the two sound wave pulses to be emitted, right? And the time difference between the two sound pulses, as we are familiar with, is nothing but your time period. Time difference between the two sound pulses, between consecutive sound pulses, would be equal to your time period, which is nothing but the reciprocal of frequency. That is the frequency of the source of the sound. The first wave pulse we said was emitted over here at t is equal to 0. So when will your second wave pulse be emitted? So your first wave pulse, let's say, is emitted over here. It was emitted from this position. So your second wave pulse will be emitted. Your second wave pulse will be emitted after a time of, or at the time of t is equal to capital T, where your capital T once again is 1 by f. That is the time period. That is the time period of the oscillation as such, right? And in the time it took for the second wave to be emitted, in the time it took for the second wave pulse to be emitted, the source would have covered a particular distance. The source would have traveled a certain distance forward as your source is moving with an acceleration e. And what distance would your source cover during this time? The distance covered by the source during this time would be equal to, using your formula of kinematics, that would be equal to S is equal to ut plus half at squared. But your initial velocity of the source, we are considering the source at the instant when it's at the instant when its velocity was 0. So distance the source covers during this time would be equal to half into a into capital T square. So if your first wave pulse is being emitted at this position, the second wave pulse would be emitted at a position which is half a capital T squared ahead of your the position where your first wave pulse is being emitted, right? So second wave pulse would be emitted from this particular position. And now we'll calculate what will be the time taken for the second wave pulse to reach the observer. We'll now calculate what will be the time taken for the second wave pulse to reach the observer. So we initially assumed that the distance between the source and the observer was L. So now what will be your distance between the source and the observer? So in this time t, your source has traveled a distance half a t squared. So the distance between the source and the observer, or rather the distance between the second wave pulse and your observer, would now be equal to L minus half a capital T squared. It will be L minus half a capital T squared, right? Because the source itself has moved forward by a distance of half a t squared. And now once the second wave pulse is being emitted, this wave pulse will now travel with the velocity v. So what will be the time taken? What will be the time taken for the second sound pulse, for the second, which I'm describing it as wave pulse anyways, for the second wave pulse to reach the observer? What will be the time taken for the second wave pulse to reach the observer? Let us take this from the time of t is equal to 0. Let us take this from the time of t is equal to 0, right? So from the time of t is equal to 0, this wave, the second wave pulse, first of all, took an extra time to be emitted, right? It took a time of capital T to be emitted. So it took a time of capital to be emitted. And once it has been emitted, it has to cover this much distance to reach the observer. It has to travel this much distance to reach the observer, right? So what would be the time taken for this wave to cover this distance? The time taken for the wave to cover this distance would be equal to distance divided by speed. So that would be L minus half a t squared divided by v. So in other words, this will be the total time taken from your time of t is equal to 0. This will be a total time taken from your time of t is equal to 0 for the second wave pulse to reach the observer, right? So this second wave pulse would reach the observer at this time. The second wave pulse would reach this observer at this time. So let me describe this as T2. Let me describe this as T2. Let me describe this value as T2 over here, right? So what are we calculated right now? The first value we had calculated was, what was the time taken for your first wave pulse to reach the observer? The time taken for the first wave pulse to reach the observer, we got that value as L by V. And then we also calculated what was the time taken for the second wave pulse to reach the observer. And the time taken for the second wave pulse to reach the observer once again was, it took a time of capital T to be emitted. And once it was emitted, it had to cover a distance of L minus half a capital T squared, right? And it does so with a velocity v. So this took an extra time of this much to reach the observer. So this was the time taken for the second wave pulse to reach the observer, right? So now what would be the time difference between these two wave pulses? The time difference between the wave pulses then would be equal to T2 minus T1. Will be equal to T2 minus T1, and that will be equal to nothing but capital T plus L minus half a capital T squared divided by V minus L by V, right? And I'm simplifying this, L by V and L by V gets cancelled. We end up with the expression capital T minus half a capital T squared divided by V. what we have calculated right now is what is the time difference between the two wave pulses. So in other words, this is the apparent time period of the observed wave, of the observed sound wave. This will be the apparent time period of the observed sound wave. This will be the apparent time period of the observed sound wave, right? In terms of waves, your time period is nothing but the time difference between the two wave pulses, right? So this will be the apparent time period of the observed sound wave over here, or this is the time difference between the two sound pulses. And then if this is the apparent time period, what will be your apparent frequency? So let me write this value as t dash. So what will be the apparent frequency according to the observer? The apparent frequency then according to the observer, if you can remember your derivation, then was equal to nothing but the reciprocal of the time period. So this will be the reciprocal of the apparent time period. So that will be equal to 1 by capital T minus half a capital T squared divided by V. And now on simplifying this, V goes to the numerator. So this becomes VT V by VT minus half a T squared. But what was it capital T equal to? Capital T was nothing but 1 by F. That was the reciprocal of your original frequency. This was the original time period. So it's the reciprocal of the original frequency. So substituting that as well, we get this as V divided by V by F minus A by 2F squared minus A by 2F squared. So taking the LCM over here in the denominator, we get the value to be equal to V divided by 2FV minus A divided by 2F squared. And then taking this denominator to the numerator, we get the final answer to be equal to 2VF squared divided by 2VF minus A. We get the answer to be equal to 2VF squared minus divided by 2VF minus A. So this was your apparent frequency, this is the value of the apparent frequency which the observer will hear for the sound wave which was emitted just when the source starts. For the sound wave which is emitted just when the source starts over here, right? So as you can see, we have made use of the derivation we had done to derive a Doppler's effect formula, right? So to summarize this once again, how did we solve this problem? We once again are using the same logic. We are calculating what's the time difference between the two sound pulses. We're once again calculating what's the time difference between the two sound pulses, right? First of all, we assume that first wave pulse to be emitted at t is equal to 0. Your first wave pulse is being emitted at t is equal to 0. So the first wave pulse is emitted at this time. It takes a time of L by V to reach the observer. So when will the observer hear the first sound pulse? The observer will hear the first sound pulse at the time of T1 is equal to capital L by V. So we got that as T1, right? And then when will the second wave pulse be emitted? The second wave pulse will be emitted after a time difference of capital T, which is nothing but your time period, which is nothing but the reciprocal of frequency. So the second wave pulse will be emitted after this time. So it will be emitted at the time of T is equal to capital T. But during this time, the source wouldn't be at the same position. The source would have traveled forward by a distance of half a t squared because it's moving with an acceleration e, right? So then the source would have now covered a distance of half a t squared, and the second wave pulse will be emitted over here, will be emitted from this position. So then we're calculating what will be the time taken for the second wave pulse to reach the observer, right? So now the distance between the source and the observer becomes L minus half a t squared. So the time taken for the second wave pulse to reach the observer would be, it takes a time of capital T to be emitted first of all. And then after that time, it needs a further time of this much to reach the observer. It has to travel a distance of L minus half a t squared to reach the observer. It does so with the velocity V. So the further time it takes to reach the observer will be equal to L minus half a t squared divided by V. So the second wave pulse would reach the observer at this time. So the first wave pulse is reaching the observer at the time of T is equal to L by V. The second wave pulse is reaching the observer at the time of T plus L minus half a t squared divided by V. So then what will be the time difference between the two wave pulses according to the observer? The time difference between the two wave pulses according to the observer would be equal to nothing but T2 minus T1. And we got that value to be equal to this. And that is nothing but the apparent time period of the observed sound wave. So that is the apparent time period. What will be your apparent frequency? It will be nothing but the reciprocal of the apparent time period. And then on simplifying it, we get the final answer to be equal to 2VF squared by 2VF minus A, right? So I hope this question is clear, right? And again, this highlights the importance of knowing your derivations in any concept in physics as such, right? If you know, if you were aware of the derivation of how we had derived your formulas of Doppler's effect, you would have been able to attempt this problem and solve it accordingly, right? But anyways, I hope this question is clear, guys.